Top 10 crypto coins to build your empire. What is the best crypto to buy now that we're in 2024? So I hope you guys had an amazing New Year's, amazing holidays. We're going to be talking about a lot in this video. So like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you guys like crypto, if you like making money, as always, if you got a brand new putter for Christmas, go and grab that right now. Grab your putter, take the like button and just tap it in. Give it a tibbity taparoo, sink the putt. We're doing it for grandma and we're gonna beat the SEC and buy our house back with crypto. So these altcoins I'm gonna talk about in this video, I believe are going to be massive for this bull run and they will make millionaires. And as always, this is not financial advice. So don't buy, don't sell anything we talk about on our channel. This is purely educational purposes only. What I'm gonna be doing is covering the charts with you guys. And then on this channel, we're gonna be doing deep dives into the fundamentals, the teams, all that good stuff for these projects. So if you guys like this video, the more likes that you get, the more projects that I'll give. So I might actually be giving 15 projects in this video. I didn't really count them all up. It might be more, might be a little less than that, but I at least have 10 projects for you guys that I personally am holding some of these in my portfolio. So full disclaimer, if I'm going to talk about a project that I believe in, it would only make sense for me to hold it in my portfolio, right? Because it doesn't make sense for me to talk about something that I don't hold. Now, a lot of people look at that negatively, but that doesn't make any sense because if you're talking about something that you believe in and you don't hold it, that doesn't make any sense, right? So I know you guys agree with that. So comment 777 if you're feeling blessed, comment 777 if you're feeling bullish, and let's run it. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So Bitcoin's sitting at $42,600 right now, and the rest of the markets, are waiting for a massive breakout. BNB up 17% over the past week, but a lot of these projects are down the past week. Solana's down 10%, and so people are wondering what's going to happen next. Avalanche is down 20%. So have we reached the high, and are we going into a much deeper correction before Bitcoin's halving, or do we have one or two more pumps left in the market before we see a deeper correction leading into the ETF approvals? Well, the main thing that we're looking at right here is the federal funds effective rate. Now, this is what's determining what's happening in the economy in terms of interest rates on what the Fed decides during their FOMC meetings. And on the CME Fed Watch tool, we have 30 days until the next FOMC meeting. This basically will dictate what the Fed is going to do for the interest rates. That's going to affect how expensive it is for banks to borrow money from each other for overnight loans, and also how expensive it is for, real estate, for loans, and basically everything in the economy. And so what the Fed has been doing over the past, year or two, since March right here, they've been raising the effective federal funds rate at one of the fastest paces in history. And then just recently, in July of 2023, they paused the rates at 5.33 right here. And so the next meeting, what they decide to do is really going to determine the outlook for the next few months and the next year. And so what we need to do is go to cmegroup.com and we're going to look at January, what's expected from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So 84.5% is expecting a rate pause. 15.5% is expecting them to cut rates. Now I'll explain what it means when they raise rates, pause rates, and cut rates, and then we're going to get into these projects because this is super important to know when's a good time to be buying, when's a good time to be holding, when's a good time to be selling in the markets. And so looking at March, the next meeting after January, so they're going to be pausing most likely in the next meeting, right? January 31st at the end of this month. Now, one thing that's interesting is in March, only 13.5% are expecting a pause. 73% are expecting them to start cutting rates in March. And only 13% are expecting a much deeper cut. So most likely a 25 basis point rate cut in March. Now in May, this is what's interesting right here, 66% are expecting them to then raise rates, so it's going to be very interesting for them to, go 50 to 525 and then 525 to 550 back to raising them another time. And then by June of 2024, we're expecting another deeper rate cut. And then by July of 2024, 51% are expecting a much deeper rate cut. And so for them to cut rates, people are expecting 2024 to be a year of cutting all the way to September, November, and then by December, much deeper rate cuts. 34% are expecting 350 to 375, and then 33.9 are expecting 375 to 400. And so looking at this right here, it's not when they raise rates that the markets crash, because as you guys can tell, the markets were rallying during them raising rates. And even when they pause rates, it's not when the markets crash. Historically, contrary to popular belief, people think that higher interest rates is bad for the markets, but higher interest rates has actually been proven to be good for crypto. Even the stock market has been rallying, but it's been bad for the dollar, the DXY. As you guys can see, since September of 2022, the DXY has dropped all the way from up here of 114. Now, September of 2022, what happened in September? Well, the rates were going up in September. And so the DXY has been dropping. Now, we did see this temporary rally from July to October of 2023. Now, July to October of 2023, what happened in July? They started pausing rates. So when they paused rates, the dollar rallied up. And then with the spot Bitcoin ETF news, with BlackRock coming in the markets, whales, institutions entering the markets, it wasn't very good for the dollar. Money was coming out of the dollar, going into crypto, going into the stock market. We've been seeing the DXY drop. Now, in a previous video, I talked about this and predictions about how by the end of the year, they're expecting the dollar to be around 100 to 104. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So we were spot on with that. Now, I do want to warn you though, because these altcoins that I'm talking about, we almost are at the top of wave one in the Elliott wave for the start of this bull run in this disbelief rally. So in terms of entering the markets right now, it's not the best time. I do believe we have more to the upside, but I do believe the dollar is going to reverse and we are going to see a correction in the crypto market coming soon. So these projects you want to keep on your watch list. I believe in the long term, they're going to do well, but in the short term, there's going to be some volatility here because looking at the DXY, we're sitting at 33 on the RSI, and with a push to the upside in the crypto market, that would lead most likely to a further push in the downside for the DXY and for the dollar. But eventually, I would expect this to reverse. So if we see the DXY breach below 30, into oversold conditions right here, I would expect a reversal for the dollar and for the dollar to bounce in the short term. Also on the MACD, we're all the way down here, well below zero. So I would expect a cross to take place where the signal line would cross below the MACD line and for us to see a reversal down here as well. Now, what would that mean with them cutting rates? Well, when they cut rates in the past, if we go on past, the last time that they cut rates, was back here at 2019 before 2020, drastically during COVID to stimulate the economy and issue the CARES Act, where Donald Trump signed into law, over $2 trillion to go out there to, on people that didn't work at that time, right? Then the time before then was 2006 to 2007. The crash didn't start until 2008. So it was when they started cutting rates, that's when the crash was happening, right? In 2008 to 2009, when the rates bottomed out. And then before then, year 2000, the markets didn't bottom until 2003. So they started cutting at the end of the year 2000, and the markets bottomed when the rates bottomed. So when they start slashing rates, that's when the crash starts. And then when their rates bottom out, that's when the crash is most likely going to end, based on history, right? It could be different this time, but history rhymes. And so for the dollar, looking at the dollar right here, I would expect something like this to play out. When the dollar reverses and bounces, I would expect it to come up to this downward trending resistance right here, and that to be the end of the correction period for wave two in the Elliott waves that I'm going to talk about in the charts the rest of this video for you guys. And so this is what I'm expecting to play out right here. And then for the dollar to continue to the downside in this descending triangle, where you see the downtrend in this consolidation period where the price just kind of bobbles around for a little bit, but you see a descending upper trend line, a flat lower trend line, and a trend continuation. And so the real question here is, while we bobble around here, coming back up to retest this downward trending resistance, if the dollar breaks to the downside at the end of this descending triangle, or if it breaks to the upside. Now, based on what we've been talking about on this channel, I believe a break to the downside is more likely as the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa come in with their new currency, CBDCs. The dollar is pretty much dead. It's at the tail end of its global reserve currency power, and the hedge money of the United States is on the tail end. And that's why the title in this video of Your Empire, right? Empires come and empires go. And so these markets, right, move in cycles of 4 years. And so the empire of the dollar is done, and now it's moving to the empire of crypto. Then eventually, maybe 100 years from right now, crypto will shift into something else that we can't even imagine of what that would be. So, by then we're not going to be around. So right now, you're building your empire in crypto to create a legacy, okay? To create a legacy and that you can pass down to future generations. So the main thing that we're looking at right now is Bitcoin, where you see higher highs on the price chart, but you saw the RSI top out here when Bitcoin was actually at January of 2021. Bitcoin's price was at $43,000, and then you saw the RSI peak up one more time at $54,000, and that was really the peak for the RSI. When Bitcoin was at $54,000, the RSI was all the way upwards of 90, and then we saw a lower high on the RSI, but we saw a higher high on the price chart all the way up here at 64, almost 65,000, pretty much $65,000 right here. So because the RSI could not come all the way back up to 80 or 90, and the RSI could only make it up to 76 and form a lower high, this deviation showed that the bulls were losing control, the bulls were losing power, and the bears were going to take over. And sure enough, that's where we saw a break of this massive steep trend line, and we saw a price crash of what looked like, 55%. So this shook out a lot of people. And then we formed this much macro divergence right here when the price bounced up to form the actual all-time high. The RSI could only make it up to like 67 or 68 right here. And so we saw this downward trending resistance on the RSI, lower highs. We saw a higher high forming. So what this was the complacency stage in the dead cat bounce. People thought, during this whole period right here, we were just cooling off and we were going to break higher and we were going to go even higher. But what the RSI was showing is that is not the case, because as we formed a higher high, we formed a lower high on the RSI. So that's what we're looking for. Now, in the past right here, for 2019, we saw 2019's rally on the RSI forming a lower high than the high of 2017. And so it was tough for people to understand what was going to happen during this phase. But because we breached above 70, it showed that, we were starting the uptrend. The lows were over. And even with, the COVID correction, it didn't come back down to this low right here. But it did form a double bottom trend reversal with a V-shaped recovery. So we're looking right here on the right-hand side of the screen, and we see the RSI just broke above 70 right here. Now, there's a few scenarios that could take place, which is going to be very interesting to watch how it plays out, because now that we're above 70 on the RSI, people could compare this to 2019 if they want, but I personally don't feel we're right here at this stage. Some people are saying we're more at this stage right here in October of 2020 before we go blasting off past the all-time high with the ETFs, which is very well possible. But I think we're kind of in the middle of 2019, 2020, where we're going to see a correction, but it's just not going to be as deep as a COVID. Although anything's possible, I do think we would come back down to this trend line right here. And then depending on where we're at right there, if we break below the trend line to come back down to 30K, and then this would be very interesting because it could be playing a macro head and shoulders pattern. But looking all the way back here, looking back in June of 2016, we saw the price rally up here to $777. So comment 777, guys, if you've been in the crypto market since 2016. I got involved in crypto 2016, rode the 2017 bull run, and saw my portfolio go up big, but I didn't sell anything at the top, and I rode it all the way to the bottom, and I had to liquidate at the bottom. So the diamond hands philosophy is not smart. So we're going to be talking about hedging your portfolio the rest of this bull run, and so you guys want to stay tuned to the channel for that. But we saw the RSI go up above 70 for the first time since the bear market, right? We're starting the new bull trend. We rallied up. We did a 618 retracement. Then we went into Bitcoin's halving. And into Bitcoin's halving, we saw a correction down on the RSI. The price went all the way down $470. We saw a crash in the markets, about 37%, somewhere around there, 72 days. And then it took 216 days for the price to rally up from that. So I think this is a more likely case scenario for what's going to happen in the markets, where we're going to see a green candle coming soon, pushing Bitcoin upwards of 48, 50, maybe $55,000. And then we see a crash, 20 to 40%. We see the RSI come down because we just barely breached up on the RSI. We're sitting at 74. We haven't gone up to 80 or 90 yet. So I think the next push going into the ETF approvals is one final breach up here, upwards of 89, 90 on the RSI. And then we work our way down back to 50, 60 on the RSI and just kind of hover up here for this bull run. And then we see another rally up on the RSI going into, 2025 at the end of 2024. That's my expectation. Now, one thing that was interesting is back in 2016 to 2017, we saw periods where the RSI would come up, retrace, go up, and then stay above 50 for an extended period of time. But the RSI breached above 71, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, whereas in 2021, it went above 70 once, stayed above it for that double top, and then came down and didn't go back above it again until now, right? So these two bull runs are different. So to know exactly what's going to happen this bull run, we can't predict it with 100% accuracy. We can just prepare for what to do when we're overbought or oversold, right? So when we're overbought or oversold. So where are we right now? We're at 74. We are overbought. We could get even more overbought, and then that's flashing just the sell when we're upwards of 80 or 90. But when we're at 74, that doesn't necessarily mean to sell right now. It just means on the macro, we're more overbought than we are oversold, right? And so from a risk to reward ratio, it's riskier right now because the market is on the verge of correcting and coming down. Very simple, right? Not very hard to understand this. And so what I'm going to be looking for right here is for us to push higher on the price chart, and for us to push higher for Bitcoin to see a green candle coming overnight. Bitcoin would push up thousands of dollars, over probably 5K really fast. ETFs get approved. And then we see a week or two of excitement, right? And the price is pushing up into that excitement for one final blow off top for this wave one rally. And then once the excitement is done, the ETFs pretty much like 3/4 of the way priced in, right? Where we see institutional money already in the markets, because people are saying that institutions are entering now with the ETFs. No, institutions have been entering here and institutions have been entering here. Because if you think you're smart getting in before the institutions, they're 10 steps or 100 steps ahead of everyone. That's why they manage billions or trillions of dollars of wealth, because they're ahead of everyone. So do you guys really think that institutions are dumb enough to get in now? No, they're already in the markets. They're just going to be getting more into the markets, right? They've already been in the markets. And so for a final push up to the upside, RSI to breach, above 80 or 90, and then to come back down to this upward trending support right here, which would be roughly, $37,000, $40,000, somewhere around there. And then if we bobble around here, I would expect us to maybe break support, shake some people out with some scare event for the RSI to come a little bit deeper, and then to work our way out of here in 2024, to work our way back up. I would expect something like that to happen and to see a 20 to 40% correction for Bitcoin. Now, this could not play out, so don't hold your breath as well too. Don't just wait for a much deeper correction, because a lot of people, the problem with this is and I hope I'm wrong here, if we don't see a deep correction like this, if we don't see a black swan event, if we don't see a major shakeout event, I'm preparing for it, but if we don't see it, then you completely miss out and you're just waiting to enter the markets, and you miss something like this where a lot of people thought that the price was going to come back up to the high of 2019 and then see another correction down, then work our way out of here, right? Well, they missed this rally that took place. If people weren't buying the markets right here, they missed the rally for Bitcoin of 400, 500% after that. Bitcoin just went crazy. And so we could see something like this happen where it might not do this, guys. We might just blast through the all-time high, right? But I'm preparing for a most likely case scenario. Most likely case scenario is the ETF is already priced in, right? And we just have one final push up, because I showed you in a previous video the price of gold and what happened after the ETF was approved. There was like 2 weeks of 5% to the upside. Then the gold's price came down like 20%, then cooled off for like 200 days or something like that. And so that's what I'm expecting for Bitcoin. Now, the first altcoin that's on the list is obviously XRP. We've been talking about XRP virtually every single day on this channel, and XRP has been the biggest project in terms of proof that it's legit, because they won the lawsuit. They have the massive partnerships with the banks, the payment providers. They're doing the big things, but it's been the biggest lackluster underperformer in terms of price action, still sitting at 62 cents, but even though this project's been up, since 2022, it's up 100%. So if you put in 100 grand, you're at $200,000 since the low of June of 2022. So it's not doing bad by any means. you're just comparing it to like Solana, you're comparing it to, Bonk, you're comparing it to these other projects that, are being manipulated by VCs and being pumped up massively. So XRP arguably could be manipulated in the opposite direction. But what I'm looking at for XRP is there's this symmetrical triangle right here. And for Bitcoin, if we see a push up for Bitcoin, I would expect XRP to see a push up as well too. Now, the price that I'm looking for on the price chart for XRP is based on Fibonacci's, right? So to see a 50% retracement from the high of 2021 to the low of 2022 would be about $1.13-ish. A 618 retracement would be $1.34. Now that's the zone that I'm watching for XRP if we see Bitcoin push to the upside, right? This is all these projects are contingent on Bitcoin. And so if we see that, the reason why I would be looking for a 618 for XRP is because if I draw this descending resistance from the all-time high to the high of 2021, it comes right within this zone right here as this sweet spot, the hot pocket, right? I don't eat hot pockets, but if XRP goes in this hot pocket, this is what I would expect to happen. I would expect XRP's price to shoot up really fast and then see a correction down and maybe hold 70 cents to $1 as support and hold around here and form some other consolidation pattern, some other type of maybe symmetrical triangle, descending triangle with the flat support on the macro all through 2024, and for XRP just to hold through here. And I would expect XRP to piss a lot of people off through 2024 because people are like, why are we not at the moon yet? Why are we not at $5 yet? Why are we not at $589 yet, right? When XRP would just be at 70 cents to $1 again. This is what I would expect to happen. So because we see XRP rally, when it does rally, it rallies fast and then it cools off for a long period of time. As you guys saw, this happened back in 2017. XRP rallied really, really quick in a matter of what? Like a week or less, 700 something percent, then cooled off for like a month. Then XRP rallied again really fast. From here, it took like about a month, rallied up over 11x, and then cooled off. For how long did this take? 200 days, right? So the rallies are very fast. You can't catch them, right? You just have to be in the markets before they happen. So to buy on the way up is tough, but they happen quick, matter of a month or a week, and then they cool off for like 3 months to 200 days. So where have we been right now? We've been in this massive upward trending price action right here, and we've just kind of been cooling off, but cooling up, right? It's heating up, and cooling off at the same time. But the heating up here, the pressure's been building, and so people have been cooling off on XRP and moving into other projects. And so when XRP snaps, it's going to snap quick, and then it'll consolidate for an extended period of time throughout 2024. Maybe see one other, dip back down to this upward trending support right here, but that would be at like 68 cents to 70 cents, somewhere in 2024. We could see it come back down to this trend line. So not to say take profits on XRP, but upwards of $1.30, I'm probably not going to take any profits because I've been holding this project so long where I'm just going to hold this thing till 2025, 2030, guys. And I'll be talking about my exit strategy for XRP because I do think this project, my price prediction, is anywhere between $5 and $30. I think 10 to 30, but anywhere between 5 and 30. A full extension on the Fibonacci retracement from the 2021 high is a $7.40, but I would arguably be drawing from the 2018 peak right here. Yeah, XRP peaked out in January, I think. And so going back here, that's about $13. So I think we do $13 to $20, $30 at the peak. People that are saying XRP is going to go to $100, it could, but it's wishful thinking. That would be a large market cap, although they do have the ability to do that. And another project, the next project on the list is XLM. XLM is like the brother currency for XRP, serving a smaller market. Whereas XRP is serving, the big liquidity, XLM would be serving the smaller companies for this. And XRP has been in this uptrend. XLM has been in this uptrend with XRP. And, we see somewhat similar price action. XLM has yet to break out, but it's been building pressure as well, too. The RSI is sitting at 57 right now. So if we see a move for Bitcoin, we could see a move relatively quick for XLM. The resistance to watch for is the high of July at 19, almost 20 cents. Anything beyond that would be a 382 retracement all the way up to 618 retracement to come back to test these highs of the complacency stage of this dead cat bounce right here. So that would be upwards of 43 cents all the way to, 53 cents. So 36 cents to 54 cents is where I'm watching for XLM. So I think XLM would make a big move here soon. I don't think it's passing its high until 2020, the end of 2024, 2025. But to go to a 50% retracement, that's 250% from here. To go back to the all-time high, that's a 500%. So XLM, I think, is going to do amazing. You can't go wrong with XRP XLM. If I had to choose one, obviously I would choose XRP because it's the larger position in my portfolio, but XLM will do well with XRP. Now, the next one in the list that will do well with these two is XDC. XDC's all-time high is sitting at 19 cents. Its current price is at 0.058 right now. So what we're forming here in this macro Elliott wave 1 is a micro fifth wave, because we saw wave number 1 up here in April of 2023. We saw corrective wave number 2, impulsive wave number 3, corrective wave number 4, down to hold wave number 1. We're also forming this upward trending support line right here. Now, wave number 5 would be the final wave in this macro Elliott wave 1 before we see an ABC for corrective wave 2. And then we form impulsive wave number 3 going into the end of 2024, 6 to 12 months after Bitcoin's halving. So this is what I would expect the chart to look like for XDC. So this one's going to perform very, very well. The development and the news that has been coming out for XRP has been absolutely bullish. And so wave number 5, I'd expect to be between a 50% and a 618 retracement. So anywhere between 11 cents to 13 cents for this project, which where we are right now looks like an 80% to 120% for XDC. The RSI is at 67, and so a push to the upside would push XDC into overbought territory. So get ready for that, and that would be contingent on Bitcoin. Now, another project that has been doing very, very well, guys, is ICP, Internet Computer. This is by far one of the best techs in crypto and best teams in crypto, and most manipulated project as well too. So they go hand in hand, right? XRP, the most attacked project in crypto, but also one of the best projects in crypto. ICP, one of the most manipulated projects in crypto for their launch. So what would that show? It's one of the best projects in crypto as well too. So right now, because we're in the wild, wild west, the projects that are attacked or scrutinized or sued are usually the projects that, have the best tech or the best teams or the most threat to the centralized systems. And so what we're looking at right here is we're looking at wave number 1, right, in this macro Elliott wave forming for ICP. And I talked about the breakout. If we saw ICP breakout here and hold this downward trending resistance, from the high of August of 2021, because we can't really look at the all-time high for ICP of over $2,000 because that was a manipulated all-time high. What we have to look at is the high based on where we were for the rest of the altcoin market. So in August of 2021 was the XDC high, back in May. So May, August-ish, right around the summer, and then April, May, August for the highs. And so where were we for ICP back here? Well, in August to September. So this would arguably be the high that we're measuring for Fibonacci retracements, which was upwards of $87 for ICP. So that's what we're looking at right here. Anything above that, it's possible, but I'm basing it on the liquidity of the rest of the market when things were moving in and out, right? So that's what we want to look at. And so this downward trending resistance from the high of the rest of the markets, if we broke that and we held it, we were going to be moving up to retest previous zones of support and as resistance. And so right now we're at it. We're at about $15 and we're cooling off from the support of March of 2022. So to break this, the next zone that we're watching is right around $28 to $35. That's where we're looking at. And I think that's where wave number 1 will finish up. And that will be within this month. Now, at the end of this month, get ready. There's going to be a lot of greed coming into the markets with the ETFs. And so I think we'll have 1 week, maybe up to a month, up to, I would say, about 2 weeks, the sweet spot of ETFs getting improved, hype coming in the markets, Bitcoin pushing up, that flowing into the altcoins, these altcoins seeing massive blow off tops, the RSI being in massive overbought territory. So that would push, ICP upwards of 90 again on the RSI. We're already at 82. So I'd be very careful here because we might not see a push up, right? We might see ICP just kind of cool off for a little bit while the rest of the market see that liquidity flow in. So be careful here because we could already be at wave number 1 right now. But I would expect, because ICP has been doing very, very well recently, I would expect ICP to see another push to the upside, maybe just shy of 30 bucks, maybe like $25, $27. Again, this could not play out, but wave number 2, the corrective wave, if we see a much deeper 20 to 40% for Bitcoin, then altcoins would see like a 40 to a 50%. So if we push upwards of, let's just say 28 bucks for wave number 1, a 60% correction would bring ICP back down to $10, which would retest this zone right here, which acted as resistance back in August of 2022, February of 2023, and it's acting as support right now. So this is where I would expect wave number 2 to come back down. And if you're looking for a good entry point in the summer of 2024 for this sell-off event, be looking for this right here for us to bounce off of this upward trending support as we start wave number 3 going into the end of 2024 into 2025. So this is what I'm watching for ICP, and my price target for ICP by the end of this bull run. I think this project, guys, could do above the all-time high. I don't see why this project couldn't be at a $250 price point. I think ICP is going to be one of the best performers, and that's why it is the second largest position in my portfolio next to XRP. It's actually about to become the first largest position with these rallies that are taking place because XRP has been underperforming. But, as we push up here in wave number 1, I might hedge some of my ICP to get more XRP. I might do that because I think wave number 2 would be a 30 to a 60% correction for ICP. Now, the next project on the list is Chainlink, guys. I know a lot of you are wondering for low cap projects. I'll make some videos about low caps, but the large caps are the ones that are the sure things right now if crypto stays bullish, right? These low caps, you just don't know. Right, some of them might do very well, some of them might be lackluster, but the sure things is how you grow predictable wealth, right? You grow predictable wealth by doing a sure 2x, a sure 3x, a sure 5x, and then you can get a little bit riskier once you've 2x'd your portfolio because then you're playing with house money because you can take your initial off of the table. That's the real key here. So looking at Chainlink, we've seen Chainlink rally up from this consolidation period of over 500 days that I talked about, similar to XRP, right? Chainlink has been consolidating for 535 days, and so that's why the breakout for Chainlink was abrupt from $7 upwards of $17 right here. So that's why I think the breakout for XRP will be abrupt, but I don't think Chainlink's done just yet because what we're looking at here is very similar to what happened during this last bull run where we saw a Chainlink consolidate for an extended period of time right here, and it didn't break out from this high. It actually got rejected from the high. But if we were to measure from the rally of February of 2018, it was over 450 days before Chainlink broke out. Now, if we were to measure from the high of 2018, it took Chainlink over 521 days before it broke out. And so this first rally for Chainlink from 42 cents upwards of $1.40 right here, performing what looked like a 240%, right, almost a 3x. We saw the RSI breach upwards of 89, obviously overbought territory, bound to see a correction or a pullback, quick pullback took place, 40%. Sure enough, Chainlink, came down on the RSI, stayed above 50 because we were in a bull market right here. So when we're in a bull market, you'll see the RSI fluctuate, but generally the majority of the time during the bull run, it'll be above 50 on the RSI, and you'll see periods above 70 where you'll see these like blow off tops happen, kind of like a mountain, right? If you were to draw a mountain as a kindergartner, very simple, you see these blow off tops. When we get above 80 or 90 on the RSI, you do not want to be buying. Okay, you do not want to buy. Do not buy above 80 or 90 on the RSI because that is drastically overbought conditions. Now, if we just barely breach above 70, you can catch another 20, 50, 100% on some of these projects. So just because we're above 70 doesn't mean don't buy. You need to know how to look at chart patterns and other stuff and other indicators as well too, which we're showing on this channel. So we breached above 70. We saw a correction down here, but we stayed above 50, 53. And so because we're in a bull run, we saw another breach and another massive rally above the all-time high for Chainlink, and it rallied 500%, another 5x it pulled. But because we saw a lower high on the RSI and we're forming a higher high on the price chart, the bulls were losing steam, right? And so then the bears took over and we saw Chainlink consolidate for another 375 days, over 1 year. Chainlink did not break that high. So you had to wait. If you were buying Chainlink at this high right here in June of 2019 at $4.80 because you thought the price was just going to keep going up and up and up, but you didn't look at the RSI and you didn't see this divergence where the RSI was forming a lower high with this 500% higher high, then you would have gotten wrecked, right? So this is what we look for. When we're forming a lower high on the RSI, but a higher high on the price chart, eventually the bears are going to take over and we're going to see a longer consolidation period, right? So what we're looking at right here on the price chart is we went to 90 on the RSI. Chainlink went upwards of $16. Now, we didn't see a similar correction of like 40% where it just dipped right back down. Instead, we're seeing Chainlink stay within this bullish channel right here where it's just trending higher. Now, what I think is going to happen for Chainlink in the short term is I think if Bitcoin breaks up with the ETF news, I think Chainlink is going to snap too. And we're going to see Chainlink push upwards of $23 to $29, $30. But the RSI, I would expect to be forming a lower high like this. So look at the RSI on the screen right now. I would expect this to take place for Chainlink. And then when Chainlink consolidates right here for a week, maybe a month, I would expect the RSI to look like this. And I'll be talking about Chainlink in the future. We're going to be seeing this downward trending lower high, downward trending resistance on the RSI, but yet we're seeing a higher high similar to what happened during the last bull run. And then I would expect the price to come down for Chainlink and to form wave number 2. Now, where could wave number 2 for Chainlink be? I mean, that could be all the way back to the support, February 2022, which is $12. That's a little bit below where we are right now. It could come all the way back down to $9 or $10 right here, which was the resistance for an extended period of time, all the way down to maybe $8. Wave number 2 could come all the way back down here and then work our way out of there going into wave number 3 at the end of 2024. We could see something like that happen. I don't know if it'll be that deep, but you could prepare for that, right? I'm not going to be buying Chainlink upwards of 22 or $30, but I do think Chainlink has another push left in it, to the upside. And hey, we could break right through this and we could go right to the all-time high. That's 200%. But anywhere between a 40% for Chainlink, 50%, 250% in the short term, I think is possible. In long term for Chainlink, I think we're doing a 4.236 extension minimum for Chainlink, $200. I think we go between $200 and $500 for Chainlink this bull run because it's crushing it, guys. It's one of the best projects in crypto as well, too. So I do hold Chainlink in my portfolio. Another project I think is going to do well is Solana. Watch this project long-term, guys. Ethereum killers, right? Last bull run was driven by Ethereum killers, Dogecoin killers, and that's where Shiba Inu came from, and that's where Solana was born out of. Now, Solana is heavily manipulated by the VCs, right? During the ICP launch, they pumped up Solana. They used ICP and sold off ICP and grew Solana, and then Solana, absolutely crushed it during the bull run, upwards of $256. And so the VCs are heavily invested in this project. Whether you like it or not, you got to understand that the VCs are heavily manipulating this and pumping this up. So I do think Solana will do well. Now, the RSI did breach above 90. It was at like 92 right here during this first rally. So I would err on the side of caution because we're going to see the same divergence pattern play out here because I think the RSI did peak for the year of 2023 and for 2024. I don't think we're going back above this until, maybe the final wave 5 of the bull run. So because Solana went from $17, even all the way down here, $8 to over $126 being, I don't know if this is the best performer other than Bonk, meme coin, but in terms of the large caps, I think it's like top 3 performers by far. And so looking right here, we're seeing lower highs being formed on the RSI while we're seeing higher highs being formed on the price chart. And so the final impulse for wave number 1 for Solana, I think would be up to the all-time high, maybe a little bit past it, maybe. So anywhere between $200 to $250 for Solana. And then the RSI, I would expect to form another lower high and stay within this range and then boom, fall off a shelf for Solana as we come back down for wave number 2, corrective wave in this macro Elliott wave for this entire bull run. And so, yes, I think Solana's going to do well. I'm not buying more Solana right now. I'm just going to hold Solana. But wave number 2, if you are looking to enter into Solana, watch this project. And then on the ecosystems, right? Solana-based meme coins are going crazy right now, which we'll be talking about in future videos. But another project that caught the tailwind and drafted like a NASCAR, right? In NASCAR, you got to get behind them, you got to draft them, and then you slingshot, and that's how you shake and bake, right? We like to go fast because if you ain't first, you're last. And so Avalanche, because it's not first, well, it could be considered last, but in this case, it's right behind. It's still drafting off of Solana. So I think we could see a push up with Solana up to about $80 before we see corrective wave 2. Now, what I'm watching, same thing, guys. Look at the RSI. It was upwards of 93 on the RSI for this rally for Avalanche, upwards of $41. And so if we form a higher high on the price chart and we see one final push up in this Elliott wave, what this would be in the micro is a 5th impulse wave, because you saw wave 1 here, wave 2 here, wave 3 here, wave 4 here, and then a final wave 5, and then we would see the ABC corrective wave for the wave number 2. So it would look like something maybe like this: A, B, and then C wave could be down, back down to this range right here, which is the top of wave 1, right? So that would be right around $25 is where I would expect corrective wave number 2. So for me to be entering in and buying Avalanche, I'd be waiting for a $25 Avalanche, and then that would be in the summer of 2024 for an upward trending support. This is what I'm going to be looking for Avalanche. And so eventually the markets are going to cool off. Now, wave number 5, guys, it could breach a little bit higher. I mean, sure, we could, if Bitcoin's breaking its all-time high, so this is a conservative scenario, right? Conservative scenario. If Bitcoin's breaking its all-time high, a lot of these altcoins could just fly past the all-time high, depending on how much liquidity comes in the market. So, don't just think that this is going to happen right here. The ABC corrective wave could be back down to the all-time high, but this is conservative, right? So I'm being very realistic here in these markets, and I'm not trying to pump you full of hopium, because looking at the RSI, if we see wave number 5 push up, what I would be expecting is a lower high on the RSI right here to test the RSI-based moving average and then get rejected from it to come back down, and then to just retest this downward trending resistance on the RSI over the next few months in 2024 on the way down for ABC corrective wave. This is what I'm looking for. So if a lot of people are telling you all Avalanche is going to, $500, or you see these videos, $1,000 Avalanche, or $1,000, $2,000 Solana, and all that stuff, yeah, it could happen by 2025, but we're just started 2024, and so we need to be aware of how these markets move. And this is how these markets move, right? So as you guys saw what happened in the past, look at Avalanche back here when it was at $57, and we saw this breakout from $9. We saw the RSI breach upwards of 92. It peaked out, and then we saw the price, come down, consolidate for a little bit. Saw another little bounce up here, consolidate. Wasn't doing too much until November of 2021, and then we saw a parabolic blow off top. But on the RSI, we saw a parabolic blow off top here that was lower than the previous high on the RSI. So because we're seeing a lower high on the RSI, we're seeing a higher high on the price chart, the bulls have completely lost steam at this point, and the bears took over. Now, it did take some time for Avalanche to fall off a shelf from the high. We saw a consolidation period of 135 days, actually even longer than that. It was like 163, and then the FTX collapsed, Celsius, Terra Luna, shaked everybody out of the markets for Avalanche to drop from the support of $54 all the way down to $8, right? And so because we were seeing this divergence, and we saw lower highs on the RSI, higher highs on the price chart, bulls were losing steam. So that's what we look for. Very, very simple, but easy to read. Looking at GRT as the next project right here. So GRT, similar price action as what's happening with like Internet Computer and the majority of these other projects, where you saw a break of this descending resistance right here. And it's currently breaking out right now from 17 cents. It's at 21 cents. If it breaks past 23 cents, this project could fly very quickly to 32 cents, upwards of 50 cents, guys. So watch GRT. What we're looking at right here is we're looking at this descending triangle where you see this downtrend line, you see a support line, and you see it consolidate within the triangle, and it coils up, right? And a breakout in one direction could happen, but what we look for is a pullback to retest. That's good entry points when you're trading descending triangles. And so looking right here on the RSI, we can see a downward trending resistance. We see this flat support right here, and it's currently pushed into the upside. If we see a breach above 70 on the RSI and we see the price going up, I would expect something like this to take place, potential back test on the RSI, followed by a blow off top of 87, upwards of 90 for GRT. GRT's RSI only went upwards of 82, but we didn't see it do something like this. You can see on the RSI when it turns like green, that shows it's massively overbought. We haven't seen that for the GRT. So I think the move for GRT is going to be very impulsive, and then we're going to come back down on the RSI. So I think it'll look something like this. We grind our way up, then we see one pop for GRT, final Elliott wave 1 with the rest of the markets, and then we kind of come back down. It would look something like this. And so I think GRT is actually a pretty good trade if you guys are looking to catch this. Also, what we're looking at is a double bottom trend reversal right here. Bottom number 1, bottom number 2, forming this uptrend. We can see this neckline right here as well. And so the neckline is at about 22 cents. So if we break 22 cents, very interesting how on the RSI, this would be a break of the descending resistance on this descending triangle. We hold it as support. We hold the neckline as support on the price chart. And then we see one final blow off top, retest this range as resistance, which was support back in June of 2021. It was resistance in April of 2022. So this is the zone to watch for. Now, how far off are we from that zone? We're 100% to 170%, and if we breach above it, that would be awesome. But we're looking at almost a 2x for this project. Another project to look for is Algorand. Algorand is sitting at 23 cents right now. Algorand's open interest is at $16 million. And so it's pretty low, right? It's in the middle range right here. I think we could see a push higher for Algorand in the short term, 30 cents, 40 cents. This is another zone to watch for that it consolidated at for an extended period of time for about 188 days for Algorand. So this would be a massive zone to break through. If we push up here, I think we kind of cool off for a little bit. And depending on where we're at for Bitcoin, I think that may be the top for Algorand. Anything above that is 77 cents to $1 for Algorand in the short term. So I think Algorand does well, but I think Algorand is going to be a big performer in 2025. So if we push up within this range, that may be the stop for Algorand as we push up on the RSI to 80 or 90 right here. And then we come back down to this upward trending support on the RSI for wave number 2 in this corrective wave to form a macro uptrend for Algorand. And then we just kind of work this trend line, maybe dip below, shake out some longs, and then work our way up for wave number 3. I would expect something like this to happen for Algorand. But to go back to the all-time high for this project, this project was beat up all bull run, but it's 11x away from the all-time high. So you can't go wrong long-term keeping Algorand on your watch list. Now, another product that is decentralized wireless communication is Dent. Dent is awesome, guys. Forming a double bottom trend reversal as well, too. It's sitting at 0.001 right now, and I think this project's going to do very well. The RSI is sitting at 70. It did breach above 70, go upwards of 85 on this rally, upwards of 0.001 from the low. And so I think Dent could be doing a double bottom trend reversal as well, too. If we hold or if we break this resistance and hold it as support for Dent, that would be good because I think the next move for Dent is all the way upwards of 0.004 to 0.0056 within this range. And then we would see a corrective wave come in for Dent down here. Now, excuse me. So for you guys, Dent is going to be an amazing project long term. I mean, Dent did have a massive rally in April of 2021 from the low of March of 2020. We saw a 33,000% growth for Dent. So I think Dent is going to be one of the big performers this bull run. The reason why is because if we open up coin market cap right here, we look at the market cap for Dent, it's at $134 million. The max supply is the exact same as XRP, but check this out. The circulating supply, all of it is in circulation. So in terms of price suppression, there really is no price suppression that could take place other than macro black swan event, liquidity sell off of the whole industry. And even looking at the fully diluted market cap, 133 billion. The market cap at the exact same. And so that's good. You want to see that. You don't want to see the fully diluted being drastically above the market cap. And also you don't want to see the majority of the supply not in circulation. You want to see as close to 100% as circulation as possible. Dent has 100%. You want to see as close to the fully diluted as possible. Dent has both of those. And Dent also has amazing development. Dent also has the psychology of the price being at 0.001. So XRP is sitting at 62 cents with a max supply of 100 billion tokens, Dent is sitting at 0.001 cents with a max supply of 100 billion as well too. It's on Ethereum and the markets, it's on Binance, it's on virtually the largest exchanges. And so looking at the chart for Dent, we're seeing a breakout right now, and we just barely broke above the high of February of 2023. And looking at all, guys, this project has been around since 2018. Sure, the high of 2021 wasn't as high as 2018, but that could have been because they were releasing everything into circulation. So now that everything's in circulation, I think Dent is going to do amazing this bull run. Definitely keep it on your watch list. Another project to keep on your watch list that is making consistent income in the gambling space is Rollbit. So, gaming is going to do well. Artificial intelligence is going to do well. Gambling is going to do very, very well because people come into the crypto space pretty much as gamblers. Majority of the market is people gambling on which project they think is going to do well. Then you become an intelligent investor by watching this channel and subscribing to these videos. But looking at Rollbit right here, Rollbit is sitting at 42 on the RSI. And also on the MACD, we're well below zero right here. So I think Rollbit, is getting close to seeing its final correction of 50. We're at 51%. So any further to the downside for Rollbit would be a 62% correction down to this horizontal support that acted as their support back in September of 2023. So I don't think we're going to push that low, but we are forming a falling wedge for Rollbit coiling up here. So if Bitcoin breaks out, I would expect the RSI to bounce up to this downward trending resistance on the RSI, form a lower high, and for the RSI to break out here and for Rollbit to see a rally. I would expect Rollbit to see a rally and then a cool off period and work our way in here for a Rollbit as we start the new uptrend for this project. And the reason why is because they're making money on a consistent basis. They're making millions of dollars a month. And so they could just take that money and put it back in their project if they want. So people are moving money out of Rollbit and they're moving money into a lot of gaming projects, but Rollbit's at a 50% correction. The RSI is all the way down here at 42. The MACD is down here. I would expect the signal line to cross below the MACD line and for us to see a reversal on Rollbit at some point. So keep it on your watch list. Uniswap. Right, we talked about decentralized exchanges in a previous video. Now this video right here, I showed you guys 1inch. So 1inch and Uniswap, these two projects right here. Now Uniswap first. So Uniswap broke out from this descending resistance right here, and we saw a breakout and then followed by a back test and consolidation at this line right here, which was a good sign because, the break from this shows that we're officially in a bull market, right? Because we held this as support, came all the way back down to the low, and we also formed a double bottom trend reversal. Bottom one, bottom two, and then the horizontal neckline that we're looking at right here is about $6.80. And so $6.80, we broke above that. We struggled to break it right here in December of 2023 for Uniswap because, you saw a break up here, consolidate at the neckline, come back down also to retest this downward trending resistance, July of 2022, February 2023, the neckline of August and beginning of August of 2023. And then also we just broke above it. We held this as support, and then we just breached the neckline. So Uniswap, if it comes down a little bit lower, $6.70, holds this as support, I would expect Uniswap to spring off of this neckline right here. It's the largest, DEX, decentralized exchange, and then you got other newer projects as well. So I do think there are other projects that are going to outperform Uniswap, but I do think Uniswap is a sure thing in terms of, price action based on where the VCs and the whales are going to move their money into during this bull run. So we need to watch Uniswap to see what's going to happen with the other DEXs like, 1inch, Sushi Swap, Pancake Swap. Then you got like Trader Joe, GMX, and those other projects I mentioned in another video. So again, guys, don't buy these projects just because I'm talking about them. And any, price targets on here is purely just resistance levels. It doesn't mean that they're going to go to these because a lot of the times when you see the price snap, you see it blow through resistances and kind of consolidate in the middle range right here. So this is just what we look at in terms of how far off we are from these, right? And so we're at the next resistance, we're about a 30%. The next one, we're about a 78, 80%. The next one after that, it's all the way up to the complacency stage of about 200, upwards of 300%. For Uniswap. So these are the three levels that I'm personally watching for us to break through. And so we would break through it, right? It's like a whale. It breaches above water, then it comes back down to slap on the surface of the water. So we breach above it. We kind of come upwards of 11, 12 bucks. Then we come back down to $9, consolidate here. We breach above it, come back down, consolidate, right? And then depending on if we're at wave 2, we lose levels, right? And then we do stuff like this where we lose a level and then we come back up to retest the previous level. So this is how the price chart works. And then the RSI, we see a rising wedge forming here. We're at 67 on the RSI. So I would expect Uniswap to come all the way up here, 80 or 90 oversold territory, and then come down and break to the downside. This is what I'm looking for on the price chart for Uniswap and for a much macro chart pattern. And so similar to what happened with XRP, guys, where you saw the high of 2017 and the high of 2021, I would expect Uniswap to be forming some form of macro symmetrical triangle like this. And then through 2024, we work our way within this triangle right here. And then going into 2025, we break out and then we see, final impulsive wave 5 for Uniswap. And so we're sitting at 70 bucks. I think Uniswap could do $50 to $100 for Uniswap. Why not? I mean, it's the largest one for Ethereum, and Ethereum is going to perform well. Solana is going to do better than Ethereum, but Ethereum is going to still perform well. So Uniswap would do well. It's a sure thing for the DEXs, right? Now, the next thing is 1inch. So 1inch is just breaking out. It tapped 50 cents. And I showed this in the chart right here where I said the next break for 1inch is right around 50 cents. If we breach above it, it would be 90 cents before a much deeper correction. But 1inch was in this, consolidation period right here since November 2023. Interestingly enough, we broke it to the upside, came back down to back test the resistance, and now we're springing off of it to retest the next zone. And the next zone is, 55 cents to 68, nearly 70 cents right here. And so if we just kind of consolidate within this range right here for an extended period of time, and we don't see another break to the upside for 1inch and Bitcoin's hype is cooled off with the ETFs, then we would come back down. But if 1inch stays hot over the next week and the ETFs get approved, then I would expect 1inch to start really moving up here, upwards of 89 cents. The highest that I think that 1inch would go during this rally for wave number 1 would be $1.20 to $1.50, which is this zone right here, which was support and resistance back from January of 2022 to April of 2022. So this would be the peak for 1inch. I don't know if it'll go up that high, but that would be the absolute max that I think would happen before we come back down for wave number 2 and form a uptrend in this macro Elliott wave 3 going into the end of 2024, starting 2025 for 1inch and the rest of the decentralized exchanges. So keep 1inch on your radar, guys. This project I think is still going to do well. Now, a project that did well recently over Christmas, we posted this in the Telegram group. I said, watch this. The reason why is because the creator of this is Vitalik Buterin, who's the CEO of Ethereum, his mom. It's his mom's project. And so they got like a $200+ million grant for this project. And so it's going to do well. Now it is overbought right here. You can see the RSI pushed upwards of 93 on this rally. And so I would expect something similar to play out as Avalanche or Solana, where you see a lower high on the RSI for this next rally up, and that to finish off wave number 1 as we push up here to maybe $100, maybe a little above $100, and then we come down on the price chart. So no, I don't think it's smart to be buying Metis right now while we're up, from the lows. We're up what looks like 700%, so a 7 or 8x for this project right here. I would be waiting for wave number 2, but long term, this project is going to do very, very well, guys. Vitalik's mom, right? They keep it in the family. So whatever connections he's got, she now has for this project. And so this one I think is going to do very, very well. Metis DAO, check it out, METIS. And we'll talk about where wave number 2 is in the summer of 2024. Now QNT, Quant, looking at this project right here, we're forming a rising wedge on the RSI. The price is at $140. We're back testing this resistance as support. And the resistance was back in December 2022, August of 2022. We are holding this right now, and we've been consolidating since the 23rd of December. So the next move for Quant to the upside is to retest the high of October of 2022, which is anywhere between $197 all the way upwards of $230 before we see it come back down. So, that's anywhere from 50% to a 60%. I know that's not the most exciting, but this project long-term, guys, I think is going to do well. Maybe it pushes a little higher from that, and then we see a correction going into Bitcoin's halving, consolidation with Bitcoin, and then we work our way out of here for the uptrend going into the end of 2024, early 2025. And so we can see this macro uptrend from the low of June of 2022. So wave number 2 might come back down to this, which would be about $130 where we're at roughly right now. And then we kind of maybe work our way off of this in 2025. And so to pass the high for quant, it's $400+. So how far we are from that right now, it's about a 200%. So, quant, I saw its first bull run in September of 2021. I do think this project has strong team, strong utility, and it's going to do very, very well. Now, if you guys want to see the other projects that we're the most bullish on before we make these videos, before the algorithm can push these to you, to discover our top altcoin picks first, and you also want to get early bird access to our financial education platform when that's launched, go to bullrunners.com. You don't need any previous crypto trading experience. Just click the button on the page, put in your best email address. It's free to subscribe to our video newsletter. You're going to get instant access to our Telegram group, and we give you the best information to help you prepare for the worst that's yet to come in this economy. Because when the Federal Reserve starts slashing rates rapidly, and we see a crash in the real estate market, we see a crash in the stock market, a crash in the crypto market, you have to be ready by developing real financial literacy. So, as always, we're backing up our truck all the way to the bank, grabbing the bags, pack them and stack them, leaving no bags left behind, because we believe the spending power of the dollar is going down. That's a fact based on inflation. Blockchain tech, distributed ledger technology, and cryptocurrencies are going up in interest. That's the truth. And together, you know where we're going. We're going camping on the beaches of the moon. I'll see you on the next video. I will see you guys on bullrunners.com. Go subscribe right now. And as always, stay bullish.